I released a statement about this earlier today, but I think it bears repeating in a video, a formal video talking about this. Vol- Volition Games has shut down. The developer behind the Saints Row reboot has been terminated by Embracer Group and is no longer going to continue developing new products. A fact that has led to the gaming community rejoicing because Saints Row 2022 or whatever was a complete abomination. It completely destroyed any credibility developer and the franchise may have had, and it was just a complete train wreck. Even with people trying desperately to pretend the game was like not an indication of where the industry is at and what certain developers are doing and what's going on. Like, go woke, go broke is not a real thing, right? There were a lot of people like screaming to the heavens about this. That a Volition Games was going to recover, that they were going to put out DLC that would save the game, that it would be another Cyberpunk 2077 or No Man's Sky, which were also terrible games, by the way. Like, so many people came out in defense of this game, right? A game that was universally hated and despised had defenders because of the political agenda it tried to push. One of the most woke games in recent memory. And it did so badly, it shuttered the entire studio. Right? This is not a fact that like surprised me at all. I saw it coming. Even when like the CEO, like the CEO of like Embracer Group came out and tried like doing his damage control, saying that he valued Volition games and that he valued like Saints Row. Like, it seems as if like the publisher did not want to admit that this was as big of a disaster as it was, because this is a very strong indication of where we're going, in that people are sick to death of this kind of like extremist left wing communist propaganda, SJW horse crap, right? This is complete garbage, right? There was no redeeming qualities about Saints Row at all. Like, whether it comes from its story to its characterization to its presentation to the general gameplay, like, it was completely broken. It was a complete train wreck, and most people don't like admitting it. Most people just forgot the game existed and just hoped that it would someday make a recovery, that we would get a new Saints Row, that we would get a new game from Volition, that like go woke, go broke is not a real thing. But as we've seen over and over and over again, people are having enough. People have had enough. And they absolutely are looking for red flags and will outright avoid products, even if they're attached to big names like Star Wars or Star Trek, if they show a hint of wokeness in their marketing, right? Now, there are some outliers to this. Baldur's Gate 3 and I think the Barbie movie had them like, had to do this thing where they had to manipulate people into thinking their product wasn't woke. But like, it doesn't change the fact that the product is woke. But when like you're very unapologetically like overt about it, like they were with Saints Row, like what you get is a complete rejection from the market. You get people like actively boycotting the game and being proud to do so, leading to one of the biggest disasters of last year. A disaster that I'm honestly not sure is even replicatable. Like, this was a complete 180 from what fans of Saints Row were used to, and as a result of that, like, they had no problems. There was no hesitation from the fan base and the community, from gamers at large, to like just let this stuff die. Like, there is no apologies, no regrets. Like, nobody is coming out here and saying like, oh, maybe Volition will do next time. No, that they are just 100% dead. And now they're completely shut down, and we will never see them uh, uh, release their excrement onto the gaming community ever again. And today is a good day for gaming, right? Another one bites the dust. Of course, we have like several dozen more studios to go through. We have to deal with Rockstar, we have to deal with like Square Enix, we have to deal with like all these companies. There are like dozens of companies that have done like things similar to this that haven't like gotten nearly the same amount of pushback. Having played Red Dead Redemption 2 recently, I can tell you just how woke and like insane the dialogue and like the characterization is is in that, like to the point where like it completely ruins the entire experience. Like there are a lot of examples of this kind of thing in modern gaming, particularly modern Western gaming, and in the entertainment industry at large. But more and more people are starting to recognize the symptoms. They are starting to recognize the signs. They are starting to recognize the red flags. And more, no matter how much people like Angry Joe cry and moan and seethe, whether in tweets or in videos or in like official reviews or in press coverages or in, IGN articles, like no matter what these people try to pull, more and more people are going to reject their nonsense. They are going to start noticing the pattern, and more people are going to start rejecting obvious failures like this. There was no salvaging the Saints Row reboot. There was no salvaging Volition games, and they will not be missed. Okay, I am very happy to see that this studio is no more.